Welcome back to my channel. Just want to give you some updates of the hour. Israeli parliament, Knesset, it came under attack. You are hearing it right. Houthis missile, they have hit Knesset building in Jerusalem after Tel Aviv attack. Now, as you know, Knesset is the parliament building. That's what we call in other countries. And this is for Israel. It's called again Knesset building, and it came under attack. Now, before I share all the details, just want to remind you that most of my viewers are not subscribed. If you happen to be one of them, consider subscribing. We'll talk about this Houthi attack and how Israel is getting humiliated every single hour of the day. I will actually share with you first this particular news. Basically, what happened is that if you don't remember, the United Nations Secretary General, he actually blasted Israel for having their troops presence in Syria, the buffer zone along the Golan Heights. Now we are seeing that UN is trying to enforce what they believe should be done by other entities with their military power, but of course nobody is interested. No country dares to do this. So UN, they have taken it on their own, and now they're forcefully removing Israeli flags from this buffer zone. The UN on Tuesday reaffirmed the Israeli army's continued presence along the Golan Heights buffer zone in Syria and reported that Israel's flags within the area separation were removed by peacekeepers. Our peacekeeping colleagues on the Golan Heights UN Disengagement Observer Force, or UNDOF, continue to implement its mandate of observing and reporting from its positions, quote-unquote. Spokesman Stephen Durazik said during a news conference. This is something that UN these days they don't want to do. Why? Because they get a lot of backlash from United States and also from obviously Israel and some of its allies when they do try to implement their agreement. In this case, this was the agreement that was made back in the year, I believe, 1974, UNDOF, the UN Disengagement Observer Force. They are normally just doing really nothing there. There's no activity by this force that has been deployed by UN. For example, what happened a few days ago in Lebanon when Israel attacked UN forces, these UN forces, they had really nothing to do. They were completely helpless. But now we are seeing when it comes to Syria this time, they're saying, no, we're going to enforce our laws. We're going to go there, remove the Israeli flags and tell them that you are not welcome. This is illegal for you to occupy. So something, that we can appreciate about this shameful place called United Nations. Now, Israel, on one hand, they are taking up more lands. On the other hand, they are doing this. Israel will not allow displaced Palestinians to return to northern Gaza, Israeli media. In other words, people who rightfully own the land in northern Gaza are not welcome to come back because of the displacement. 1 million Gazans were displaced from northern Gaza. They are not welcome to go back to their homes. On the other hand, you see these Zionist monsters, they are stealing more lands from other people. Every time they go there, they talk to their local people, they give them invitation, hey, come join Israel, we're going to give you everything, only to later on steal everything from them, rob them of their lives and their livelihood and wealth and money and you name it. We have to learn a lesson from Israel, their behavior, that if you allow these Zionist monsters, these thieves, these robbers, this cult to come to your door with a good invitation, then you know what will happen to your fate. Means you will be completely destroyed, just like these people from northern Gaza. Their life are being now completely destroyed. Israel is not allowing them to come back to their homes. Can you believe this is happening? So this is coming on the news at the same time. The Israeli army plans to prevent displaced Palestinians from returning to their homes in northern Gaza, according to Israeli media. Coming from Israeli media, look at the audacity. The Israeli army, quote-unquote, forcibly displaced around 65,000 out of 70,000 residents to Gaza City, while a few thousand civilians remain in large set shelters such as schools and clinics. Yodiot Aronath newspaper said, these people who are staying in those schools and in those clinics, they're also getting targeted and getting bombed and getting massacred. In other words, you have really nowhere to go. So when we see that Israel is going to Syria, the buffer zone, and they're inviting people, hey, yet they are talking to the locals, there are many reports on that, then you know that these thieves, they cannot ever be trusted, because they use the same technique. They have used the same deception they have used in 1948 when they displaced the Palestinians, a lot of them. Therefore, we have a lesson to learn. There is no doubt about that. Well, there is one country who is not taking it, who is not tolerating this kind of deception from Israel, and that is none other than Iran itself. The Khamenei, he says that the resistance remains strong despite Assad regime's fall. And I'll tell you guys why he said that in a second. But take a look at his statement. Basically, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said yesterday, asserted that Israel and United States are completely mistaken, quote unquote, in thinking that Iran-backed axis of resistance collapsed following the fall of Bashar al-Assad regimes in Syria. There is this same tone, if you like, being echoed by Erdogan himself. And he basically said that we are not done. We're not going to be exclusive. We're going to be inviting other nations to join in to build Syria. It is not, what Iran did was they wanted to just punish Israel using Hezbollah and their proxies, the militia groups. But what we are noticing about Turkey is that they're not willing to use militias in order to tackle Israel like Iran did. Turkey, their plan is include all countries, not militias only. Obviously, they will be using those militias. I have no doubt about that. But Turkey, Erdogan, he's focused more on countries. So he's asking Lebanon to pitch in. He's asking even Egypt. He's asking Iran. He's having good relationship even with the West. Basically, what he's trying to accomplish is that he doesn't want to be looked at as a country that is using proxies to fight wars. Therefore, he will not be coming under sanction, because Iran is under sanction because of this kind of behavior from the United States. They are under sanction. There are many other reasons why Iran is under sanction, because one of them, I think the main would be the nuclear program. But again, because of those proxies that Iran had been using, Israel and US, they're not happy with them, so they're sanctioning Iran. And they have an excuse for that, an open excuse, because the rest of the world, the community, they don't want to accept what Iran is doing, using those proxies and creating problem for Israel. But unlike Iran, Erdogan said, well, I want to invite the whole world to come to me. And now if the whole world said, we don't care, give you, if they give him a middle finger, he has men on the ground in Syria. So he doesn't need the international community like he needed in the past before the Syrian rebels took over. He is not in need of those people or MBS or Mohammed bin Zayed or Ayatollah Khamenei or anybody for that matter. He has men on the ground to give him intelligence, to give him information what Israel is doing, and therefore he is going to be mobilizing an army after he's done with the Kurdish, obviously this terrorist organization, pro-Israel, pro-Zionist entity, Kurdish. He will be dealing with Israel sooner or later, because if he does not, then Israel has their eyes on Turkey. And they made it absolutely clear. Bezalel Smotrich, the foreign minister, and Netanyahu himself, they all made a clear statement that we want to conquer this entire land, including Turkey, Mecca, and Medina. So this is what Khamenei, he said in a televised speech. Within the developments in Syria, the crimes committed by the Zionist entity, the crimes committed by America, and the assistance provided by some to them, they thought the resistance had ended. They are completely mistaken. Now, I do not know who he's talking about when he said assistance provided by some of them. I don't know, maybe he's talking obviously about US, no doubt about that. He's also talking maybe about the European countries, especially UK. There is another group or country, I can call it country, who is not having it, who is not taking it anymore, and that is the Houthis. And they have attacked Israel once again, and they have launched missile on Israeli parliament. Now, Knesset building hit missile fragments found outside. So the missile did not hit the building directly, but they have found a very close proximity of the impact point from the building. Houthis fired 2 ballistic missiles on Tel Aviv. And this is coming after, obviously, what Khamenei said, that we are not done. The resistance force will live on, and we're going to support them. Israel Defense Minister roars, he said, we will take revenge on Houthis, and they have killed, as we know, at least 9 people. But I will put the number even more because, obviously, there are injuries, and therefore we will see more casualties coming in the news in the coming hours. So Israel strikes on Yemen, killed at least 9 people, Houthis say. This is what is coming from Houthis, and I have my own reservation about Houthis attack on Tel Aviv because they are not creating much of a damage. I mean, when Hezbollah fired those rockets, yes, the Zionists panic almost every day. But coming from Yemen, ballistic missiles, the Iron Dome right now, they have a lot of, space. They are all being fixed. They are now not focused on those projectiles coming from Hezbollah anymore. So they can focus on those missiles coming from Houthis. And it will be very easier for them now to detect them and destroy them. In fact, they did. The last one they launched, the True Promise 3 missile, the ballistic missile they launched, Houthis from Yemen, was actually intercepted and it was destroyed. So my argument is that if these ballistic missiles or cruise missiles, they're not helpful, coming all the way from Yemen and not being able to enter into Israeli airspace, then I don't know if they should continue firing those ballistic missiles at Israel, because then what Israel does is they go after those Yemeni people, the innocent civilians. As we know, these are genocidal people. They don't care about human life. They go to Yemen with their F-35 fighter jets and they kill as many as possible. Therefore, I have my own reason why I think that the Houthis, they should be actually collaborating with other countries to make it even more effective. Right now, Iran is totally have their hands tied for the most part. So I don't think going to Iran will help much. But I think Houthis can definitely try to talk with the Iraqi militias, the resistance forces there, and try to see if they can, come out with a different kind of solution to this problem of the Gaza genocide. Because the reason you are launching these missiles is to really protect the lives of the people of Gaza. You're ending up killing your own people. That's my argument. I don't know, but what they're doing in the Red Sea, where they're intercepting those ships going to Israel, going to America, I think that is for them proving to be even more effective. Now, in a statement, Israeli forces claimed it had targeted sites used by Houthis forces for their military operations on Thursday following a missile launched by the group overnight towards Israel, which was intercepted. Of course, ITF, the Israeli terrorist forces, will never acknowledge that they have killed innocent civilians. All they will say, we were successful targeting this site or the infrastructure in Yemen, the Houthis port. We just destroyed them all. But what they do at the same time is that they kill innocent people. And again, they don't want to acknowledge that. Now, Houthi-run Al-Marsira TV reported that Israel launched 4 aggressive raids, quote unquote, targeting. So aggressive raids, these are not targeted on the Houthis position or the infrastructure of the port, Houthis. These are all 4 aggressive raids that killed, I would say, dozens of people, targeting Houthis port of Al Salif, killing 7, with 2 more killed in 2 strikes, targeting the Ras Isa oil facility also located in Houthis. Again, I don't know how effective this strategy is from Houthis, but a lot of people, they say, they should continue on with this. Now, there is this country that I just mentioned, Turkey, who is playing a big role. There is a good possibility that Turkey will come in direct contact with Hezbollah. in Lebanon. There is a good possibility because Hezbollah is part of the political echelon in Lebanon. And Turkey recently, Erdogan said that we, Turkey and Lebanon, will work together. He definitely meant that he will be working with the Lebanese government, not Hezbollah. But again, the possibility remains that he will also have some contact with Hezbollah, which might lead them to a formation of a united front against the Zionists. We do not know, but take a listen at this video first.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan welcomed Lebanon's Prime Minister Najib Mikati in the Turkish capital Ankara. The leaders held a meeting to discuss their bilateral ties as well as the ongoing regional crises. Mikati says the situation on the ground is dire, with the country still suffering repercussions of months of Israeli attacks. The Lebanese premier says the ceasefire agreement between his country and Israel was meant to offer some respite and initiate the healing process. But Mikati notes that Israel is preventing Beirut from doing so.
وهذا العدوان متواصل لسوء الحظ عسكريا بشكل مباشر من خلال الخروقات اليومية التي يقوم بها العدو الإسرائيلي وهذا مخالف لورقة الالتزامات الخاصة بوقف إطلاق النار.
Erdogan called on the
It is also noteworthy to point out, which is that Lebanon, this is something very, to me, not surprising, but unusual. Coming from Lebanon, this prime minister to Turkey, talking to Erdogan about the situation in Israel and the ceasefire between Hezbollah and Lebanon, because normally you would see Turkey is always getting bypassed. After the rebel takeover, after this new government in Syria, nobody can bypass Turkey. Turkey is now the country. If you want to solve Middle Eastern crisis anywhere in Middle East, you must include Turkey because Syria is so important. Syria has Russian forces still there. Some forces remain. Syria has Iranian influence. I believe they still have some influence. Syria has border with Lebanon and Turkey, and therefore it is impossible right now because of Erdogan's complete, I would say, he controls Syria. He is basically the de facto president of Syria. Because the way he's talking, I'll actually play the video in a second, he is basically saying that Turkey's abilities and their potential should not be confined to only Turkey. Means he's going to be ruling over other countries, and he definitely meant Syria, that this government, in the new government in Syria, will follow his orders because Turkey cannot be again confined. Now let's take a little bit more.
International community to exert pressure on Israel to comply with the ceasefire agreement. He's also expressed Turkey's commitment to protecting Syria's territory following the dramatic downfall of President Bashar al-Assad. The comment is likely directed at Israel, who've recently occupied a buffer zone in the annexed Golan Heights.
Suriye'nin toprak bütünlüğünün ve üniter yapısının korunması da aynı şekilde ülkemizin asla taviz vermeyeceği bir başka husustur. Türkiye bu süreçte ihtilafın başından bu yana yaptığı gibi Suriye halkının yanında duracak, gereken her türlü katkıyı sağlayacaktır.
Mikati hailed
Again, let's take a listen to what Mikati said.
Ankara's pivotal role in ensuring the region's stability.
Gereken her türlü katkıyı sağlayacaktır.
Mikati hailed Ankara's pivotal role in ensuring the region's stability and agreed with Erdogan's position. The Lebanese leader says his government will work with Syria in aims of establishing ties based on mutual respect and good neighborliness.
Absolutely, because these people, this head of states, they should actually stop going to UN because the UN cannot provide any solution. So they really need to unite. They should put a united front, forget about the Shia, Sunni and every difference they come up with, and work together with one goal, which is peace in Middle East, and that would mean keeping Israel at bay. There is no doubt about that. Now, I just want to actually also show you this particular video to show you or highlight you how important Turkey has become. Recently, Egypt, they have done this D8 summit where they talked about Syria. And as I mentioned in my other videos, guys, this guy Sisi, Abdul Fattah Sisi, is panicking. He's calling Turkey, he's calling other countries, Indonesia, other Muslim countries, Palestine, to come and join him in order to find a solution. Like, this guy is beyond pathetic, this guy Sisi. Let's take a listen what Erdogan said. Very, very interesting.
After the fall of the Assad regime less than 2 weeks ago.
We're trying to do our best to contribute to the stabilization of Syria in this difficult process. And at every opportunity, we emphasize the importance of Syrian territorial integrity and unity. Our most sincere expectation is building a Syria that is free from terrorism, where all religions, sectarian and ethnic groups live side by side in peace.
President
Of course, and then you also have this Iranian president meeting Sisi. He invited Iran too, which is very, very bizarre and strange to me, because Egypt, they don't like Iran. They actually hate Iran for whatever reason, especially under Sisi. They don't want to talk to Iran, because Iran, if they ask Egypt to help them to have a friendly relationship with them, guess what? US and Israel will stop aiding Egypt. So Egypt, the government, the military force, the corrupt military force, they don't like it. They want more money. So what they do, they keep Iran at a distance. Let's take a listen.
President Masoud Pezeshkian's visit to Cairo marks a rare trip by an Iranian head of state to the Egyptian capital. Relations between Egypt and Iran have been strained for decades, but since the beginning of Israel's war on Gaza, they've increased diplomatic engagement. The D8 was created to boost trade between developing countries, but now the bloc has gained new significance. And as its founding members compete for influence in a transforming Middle East, it could prove more important than ever before. Axel Zamovich.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what they want right now. They don't care about those economic benefits only. Of course, that is on the top of the agenda. But what Egypt and these countries, they also want these days is safety and security. So they are now trying to create a unity of a military alliance, if you want to call it that way, to protect their interest, to keep those governments in place, especially countries like Egypt. Fattah Sisi, who is now shaking, as I said, he's on a shaky ground, very much on a shaky ground. And Israeli researchers, they have already warned them that you guys could be targeted. There could be a coup, there could be protests, both in Egypt and also in Jordan. But obviously, time will tell more how this whole thing or situation will unfold. Dorothy, thank you so much for your comments. Noor, I will see you in the next video. Vida, Dr. Fly, the web son.